We will move on to 6.2, discussion and consideration of resolution declaring the intention to renew the Lake County Tourism Improvement District and establishing the time and place of a public meeting and public hearing. And with that, Susan, I know that we also have a representative from the TID here as well. So.
Yes, please come forward, Brian. This morning we have Brian Fisher, who's the Executive Director of the Lake County Tourism Improvement District, and we also have on Zoom Emily Brown from Civitas.
Emily, are you there?
Have we?
You want to speak in the microphone?
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Emily, are you there?
Hi, good morning. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Emily. I just wanted to make sure you're in there.
If you wanted to come up, you can.
Could you pull, Sam,
He likes standing there.
our document up there?
Brian, do you want to come sit?
Yeah, you could sit up here if you'd like, unless you're
Table?
Yeah, it's
comfortable
all right.
there.
I'm just going to move this out of the way because you can't really get to the...
I just remembered last time you liked being right there, so.
I know, I'm a stander. So I wanted to take you just through a really quick, short deck. Supervisor Sabatier, you mentioned how beautiful it is in Lake County, and that photograph was taken last month by Karen Pavoni from Lejour, and I think that kind of certainly encapsulates exactly what you said. It's like crazy beautiful out there right now. So as most of you know, the Tourism Improvement District was created and formed on December 2018 is when we actually seated our board down at Twin Pine Casino. And we were seated for 5 years was the term on the district. The district can only be formed the first time you form a tourism improvement district for 5 years. So we were looking at this district sunsetting this next December in 2023. So we decided to go out on the renewal process this year. We knew it would be a long process, and so that's where we're at. I wanted to, if you go to the next slide there, Sam, just give you a little brief update really on what we've accomplished in the last 4 years. We're pretty proud of where we are. In 2019, we had very little funds. To start, we had a $25,000 grant from Visit California that we put to good use and did a brand study and looked at who visited Lake County through credit card data from all of our partners to come up with our targets and who we're going to be talking to, creating our brand voice. So in a year when we were really kind of just building, we built that brand architecture. We listened to a lot of people in the county. We brought a lot of people together to talk about what the county meant to them, what brought them here. So brand architecture is really what we feel like we accomplished in our very first year. Moving into 2020, we were getting ready to launch in March with our first advertising campaign. I think it was March 15th, and as we all know, the world shut down. And we decided that was, we'd go week to week, month to month. Well, we went year to year. So we worked on social media growth. It was a really soft category for us to be able to working on. Most destination marketing organizations really shifted into just kind of soft advertising at that point. And Karen and the group grew our Facebook followers by over 120% in 1 year alone. So we really grew kind of a very, very important audience. As we know, social media is how a lot of people communicate and share and get ideas. So social media growth is what we would say we feel we accomplished in 2020. We kind of put those plans for advertising on the back burner, and in 2021, the spring, we rolled out plans that were very different from the first plans that we had. We went with billboards in both Bay Area and the Sacramento Valley. We wanted to really create positive impressions for Lake County. Talk about some of the things and show some of the things that make us look really clearly different. We had a lot of positive feedback, over 16 million impressions that those very key billboards created for us, and really felt that was the thing for us to be doing at the time. And then moving into 2022, we really felt the need to have something tactile. So we created our map, which was wholly funded by advertising, which shows where to go in Lake County, gives that total look at Lake County. As we know, the Chamber no longer published the magazine that they'd been publishing. And so we wanted something to be out there for people to be able to hand to folks. And the maps then are also distributed all up and down the I-5 corridor. As we know, we're a very big drive market here in Lake County. So 65,000 maps outside of the county, trying to do the good work of getting people into the county. We also initiated a Book Direct widget on our website, which is, if you're looking at a sales funnel, the top of the funnel, you've got your brand architecture, your brand advertising. You move down a little further, you create interest, you've got a website, and then a little further down from that, towards the bottom of that funnel, where you get people closer, is a widget that actually lets them look at what's available for during a time frame when they're coming to Lake County. And so we've been watching that widget on a month-to-month basis. We started it in May of last year, and it's done very, very well for us. It's a really good indicator of what people are looking at and what interest is there. It also gives us some data to share with our stakeholders. So the booking widget has been key as well. And then as you look at the bar chart, the blue chart all the way across there shows the unique visitors to our website starting in 2018, a little over 6,000 unique visitors. In this past year, 2021, we were over about 86,000 unique visitors coming to the Visit Lake County website. So feeling that is a very good indication that our efforts are working for us. So that's a little bit of a summary of what we're doing. The next slide will show you the renewal district overview. So the term of the new district is going to be for 10 years. When you create these districts after the first district, you can go for 10 years. So it'll be 2024 to 2023. The assessment, we went out with an assessment of 3% on the renewal to all of our stakeholders. Over 174 stakeholders received a petition requesting a 3%. We found in the process that we were not going to be able to get the 3%, and we needed to negotiate down from there. And we settled to everybody's liking at 2.5%. So that will be the assessment beginning in January of 2024 when this district renews. That assessment will give us about a $386,000 budget. 75% of it, as you can see up there, is going to be into sales and marketing, 20% into operations. We have to have a reserve contingency fee. Will be a little over $11,000, and then we need to pay both the county and the cities for collecting those fees. It gives you an idea of kind of where that budget is, but as you can see, the vast majority, over 75% of those dollars are going to go outside of county to create positive impressions and to get people into Lake County, into our stakeholders, hotels and lodging. And then last but not least, I want to just show you that next slide, we needed over 50%. We're at 50.88%. One more slide.
Oh, I was just going to go.
That's okay.
You're not being seen on TV.
That's okay. So that is the stakeholder support at this point. And then I wanted to show you kind of a list of some of these major brands and major companies in Lake County that have chosen to support the district. Everything from the Best Western, El Grande in Clear Lake, the Super 8 in Upper Lake, Skylark Shores here in Lakeport, Anchorage Inn in Lakeport, Boutique up on Red Hills, the mountain, Bed and Barrel Stonehouse out there in Clear Lake Oaks, Mandala Springs from Cobb. So a really nice listing of folks who have agreed to continue to support the district, and we hope that we can continue to support the district at the Board of Supervisor level as well. So with that, we wanted to take some questions. Emily is our project manager from Civitas, who has been helping us through this process. She's a wealth of information in terms of renewing these districts. They're very legal, and there are a lot of steps that you have to take, and we are trying to take them as wisely and as smart as we can, but that's where we're at. So would love to open up for questions on the renewal of the Tourism Improvement District.
Supervisor Pyska?
Well, I want to thank you for your hustle. This was a lot of work to get to this point and a lot of communicating with all of the stakeholders and members. So really appreciate you doing that, Brian, and everybody else that was part of that. This is really important work, and it's important to keep the TID intact and moving forward for the next 10 years. So thank you so much. I know you guys did a lot. And I just want to call attention to the budget. That doesn't include any of the new rooms coming online and the forecasting. What does that look like in the next couple of years? Because I know we've got, and sorry, I didn't front load you with this question, but it is something that we've talked about at the TID meetings. What does that look like for the budget as we have several new projects coming online in probably the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, well, we're super encouraged. I mean, in the 4 years that we've been in existence, we haven't added a single hotel room in the county of Lake, and we probably won't really until next spring. But with Hotopia opening up down in Six Sigma on the land lease deal that they did there, that's extremely encouraging. I believe they're around $120 a night, and I believe they have 2-night minimums. It's still TBD in terms of what their numbers are, so I haven't really tried to extrapolate there, but all in all, we're going to have probably 80 brand-new hotel rooms, i.e. glamping units, on the market by March or April or May. I've actually been down there and met with Kai and seen the project, and it's moving along really nicely. Their head of construction is on site, and they are building the roads and everything they need in there. So that's super encouraging. It's very hard, again, with Canocti Harbor, but I just yesterday built a listing for their New Year's Eve party on our website. So we're seeing movement. We're seeing movement, rumblings. I know they've got a block of rooms that I believe the Lakeport Rotary has booked in early May. So it looks like by early spring, they should be up and online as well. So super encouraged by that. And then we've got projects in Clear Lake that I don't know that they've broken ground yet, but we think that the number will continue to grow in a great way. We look at I look at my partners or my counterparts jealously because I look over at Visit Mendocino, and I can't even tell you the number of hotel rooms that were added in the last 4 years in just Ukiah alone. So that's how these districts are meant to build and to create the momentum, and I think that we're nicely set up for that. So I don't have any specific numbers for you, but we're feeling very encouraged by it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. And then the other question I have is is in the resolution where it still says 3%. Okay.
And Emily, you can speak to that, please.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, and good morning, members of the board. As Brian mentioned, I'm Emily Brown, a project manager with Civitas, and we specialize in the formation of improvement districts. And so to answer your question, yes, it does still say 3% in the resolution. The Property and Business Improvement District Law of 1994 that the district is formed under, it essentially says that the signed petitions in the petition drive are signing on to the specific management district plan that we had when the petition drive began. So in this case, that's the plan dated September 8th, and that had the initial rate at 3%. Once we start collecting petitions, we can't make any changes to the plan. And so as Brian mentioned, as we worked our way through the petition drive, we learned we had a little more support at the 2.5% assessment rate. And section 36624 of the 94 law allows for the proposed assessment to be revised only by reducing and only at the final hearing. So that's what we intend to do. So all the documents at this time, they do still say 3%, but our intent is at the final hearing to present the revised management district plan, which I think is the one that you should have in your packet. That's the one dated December 7th, and that one has the updated assessment rate at 2.5%.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that.
Of course.
Supervisor Spatier?
Thank you for bringing this to us. I think if we had Highway 101 or I-5, we would see the same type of productivity that Ukiah is seeing. So this is important work because we have to go out of our way to make things happen. And I appreciate what the TID has done so far. You've taken my question already, so I'm glad to have that clarification because there was a little confusion. If you had shared the old management plan that said 3%, then it would make more sense, but with the 2.5 and the December 7th plan and with the resolution not matching, that was confusing, but thank you again for that explanation. I do want to add one thing. It's something that I've stated before, and I just want to keep highlighting it, and I think it's not easy. But it's something that's important to me. And the word of the day is equity. Every hotel throughout the entire county or every lodge, everywhere that there's lodging available is going to contribute to this TID. And I just want to make sure that there's equity in the advertising for around the lake and not very specific focused advertising on specific areas of the lake. I know that's one thing that I noticed before. Again, not easy. But if we can get that to happen, that's going to get more of those hoteliers to want to say yes to 10 years later wanting to continue this TID. And I know that there was obviously the need for negotiations, hence why I bring that up as well. And then continuing with the word equity, I want to continue to push for equity imagery for what is being shown to our, I think your main bases were the Bay Area and Sacramento area. That's a very diverse crowd. Want to make sure that our imagery is as diverse as those crowds over there, those populations over there, so that we can attract as many people to come here and join the adventure. And I appreciate the logo, appreciate the motto, everything about it I think is great. It's a great start. I want this to keep going.
Thank you.
Supervisor Green?
Yeah, thank you. Help is on the way, and Lakeport's going to do its part. I don't have a number of hotel rooms, maybe Wilda does, but we do have a hub project coming online, and probably the first development in that will be a hotel. So help is on the way on that. Probably won't be next year, but 2020, as soon as 2024, if it goes on track, I assume some of those may come online. Really appreciate the website, looking great. Question on the newsletter sign up. So in terms of the funnels, getting those newsletter captures hugely important because then you can mark it out again and again to them. So how's the newsletter doing, and what kind of conversions are you seeing out of that?
Yeah, newsletter continues to grow nicely. Actually, we have to start paying more through our email provider because we passed the 10,000 mark. So we've got a lot of newsletter signups. Principally, they're coming through our advertising we did with Visit California. We had 2 ads that we ran in their guidebooks and their destination books. And so we receive a lot of requests for information from those 2 sources. They also provide some of our best traffic. We always see after we drop our email, we always see the spike in traffic to our website for the month. So we know they're engaged. We also know that those folks spend a lot of time on our website. When we send out the email, they come in and they'll spend 3-4 minutes on the website, whereas the typical person coming in from possibly social media advertising will spend maybe less than a minute. So they're valuable to us. We're going to continue to work on them. Creating the newsletters is hard. I mean, we sit down with our agency every month and we scratch our head, okay, what are we going to do? So we're always working on some new angles and stealing ideas because nothing is actually, it's a newsletter. You don't have to reinvent yourself every time. But we're trying to stay fresh with it and trying to stay current. This time of year it gets really hard. Things really slow down. We just slow down with activities and things that happen. It's very much our off season. So.
Well, I just signed up for your newsletter. If you go to lakecounty.com, that's lakecounty.com, how you landed that, Earl, kudos just for that. I'm going to renew you just on landing that domain. So thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Green.
Supervisor Simon?
Yeah, I want to thank you again for coming back, and obviously looking at the long-term vision here the next 10 years. It's great to hear the projects that are going to be happening. Obviously, from day one, support this project, telling our story. It's great to go on the website and to look at those things and to continue that growth. I appreciate the equality conversation, as we're moving through that because, we've established, Lake County is what it is, an agricultural industry, the tourism area. We need to build the hotel rooms. They're coming. Yep. to continue that growth. But also, just what we talk about is the cultural experience that's been here for thousands of years with our tribal nations and other stuff, obviously all cultures that are here in Lake County, but really pushing on those things as we move forward to continue those conversations. I appreciate the TIDs reaching out to the tribes also as we got started with all these, the agreements that happened there. So from my point of view, money well spent. We've attempted in the past to do different things, but I think now with this focused vision that we have going forward and everybody buying in, it's going to pay off. It may take some time, but we're going to continue getting that growth. So, yeah, thank you. I'm in complete support of moving forward with this resolution to continue.
Great.
I
go
have
ahead.
one other thing. One thing that it's me. With the Cawberry Council and their Explore Cobb marketing campaign, it was something that they've been trying to put together for the past couple of years is, what's the snow program? We have people that come up here, it's a much shorter drive, and there's a lot of opportunities to go up in District 3 and kind of do some pre-planning on what that looks like for when we do expect storms. And we get a lot of people coming up, and they don't know where to go, and they don't know what to do. And so kind of looking at the historical places where people can go, where it's legal for people to go, and where people can warm up with hot chocolate or something like that is a nice little program to put together for the winter months.
Sounds like a newsletter for me.
Just giving you some ideas.
Where to go?
Supervisor Sabah.
Yeah, two questions. It
Sure.
was brought up, the relationship between the TID and the local tribes that we have. Has there been conversations about increasing their contribution to 2.5? I know that there's, I believe, 2 tribes that said yes to contributing with the 1.5. Just kind of curious if that conversation has begun, if there's been approvals, anything.
We haven't begun those discussions yet.
Okay.
Those will take place this year for sure.
Okay.
But both of our tribes have been wonderful partners, great partners all the way around, and we're still working on the big band down here in Kelseyville. We still don't have any sort of formal partnership with them after discussions. I know they've gone through a bunch of changes, but I was just talking about that with my finance person about what we can do to maybe engage there. I think there's some new folks, new faces there, so we're going to go back there and see if we can't get them to also join the effort, because they're super valuable, and we're at this point where we need to decide how do we support folks who don't support us. What do we do? So we're having that discussion. It's actually on our agenda for next month.
Yeah, and I love that Robinson Rancheria and Middletown Rancheria have joined the cause. I think that's an amazing, because we all, all tides raise all boats, or the rise of tides raise all boats, something like that. And I think that we're all in this together, and we're all going to help each other make it and do better. My second question to you is, the TID has approached us before with requests for funding, which we've done because we support the TID. Within the budget that you have, is that solely budgeting based on the TID collection that you have, or is that still with the idea of approaching the board with additional requests?
The budget that you saw there is only including TID collections. It doesn't have anything to do with the TOT that you as a board contribute to us. So we will still be asking, obviously, for that ask. This just gets us started, and we've seen from other counties. I was just at a big our biannual meeting with Del Norte, Humboldt, and Visit and Mendocino, and they all have those types of agreements. Their agreements are more in writing, which is, I think, would be where we would like to go, so that we could really understand exactly what the funding is. So as we increase TOT for the county, is it a set amount, is it a percentage amount? Mendocino works off a percentage. Both Del Norte and Humboldt work off of a set amount. So it's typical. I will say it was one of the areas with my stakeholders that I received a lot of questions about where TOT went. The feeling was pretty mutual across the board that the either 9% they're paying countywide or 9.5% in Clear Lake. It's a hot issue with them. So I was very clear in saying that we were receiving, in this case, this year and last year, $78,000, so that they understand that some of it does get returned to marketing. And I do think that's important. I mean, that's exactly what TOT was set up to market a county. And I know it's changed over the years. But, so we'll be coming back with an ask. It'd be great, like I said, if we had something that was just, so we didn't have to go through the dance every time. And maybe it is just the 78, and that's fine. But the easiest part would be to know, what kind of skin in the game TOT has versus what we're going to be collecting. Because it's our goal, obviously, to raise that number. And not just raise it by number, not just raising it by the number of hotel rooms, but getting a higher rate, getting 2-night minimums, creating a lot more demand for our products than we had maybe 5 years ago. So.
And just to clarify, I believe it was 376,000 or something like that you showed for your budget. Again, that's only the TID collected at the 2.5%. And you're saying that there's nothing written as in like a continued agreement annually where we provide a specific amount, you come and make an ask. And I get that it would help you predict how you can move forward and project into the future on what your decisions are if there's something more predictable. So appreciate appreciate the clarification.
We're making media plans 6 and sometimes 8 months in advance, and you really need to know what you've got in your budget. Which brings me to my final comment. It's going to be a slim year for Lake County's advertising, and the renewal took a lot of steam out of our engine. It was over $55,000 to renew the district. So we're not going to be able to do a lot of big top of the funnel stuff in 2023, unfortunately. We just don't have the resources. We keep looking at the numbers and turning them and looking at the numbers and turning them, but it's just not going to be there. We're going to have to really focus on search and social, and we're going to move further down the funnel and really lean heavier on our booking widget. And to your point, Supervisor Sabatier, we want to start featuring more properties in Lake County. We had to feature this year what we had in terms of our asset bank. We'd already gone over and shot some spots and shot certain locations. We have to use very good photography. We can't put stuff out there that's not really top of the line. So we're going to focus, and I've talked with the agency about focusing our social efforts on really getting people to that booking widget. And we're going to look at different properties. We may categorize properties. Maybe it's lake properties, maybe it's pet-friendly properties, maybe it's vineyard properties, ag stays. But we want to kind of break it down and focus a little bit more so that we have some of that really important data also for stakeholders, because that became very clear through the process as well of renewal. And that's what I have for everybody.
Thank you, Brian. I just want to say, when I first came onto the board in 2019, I was part of the TID group, and it was you could see the difference in it, and I appreciate all the work that's been put in and all of the different initiatives, seeing different signs down in the Bay Area, and just a more vast amount of different marketing, output. So different pictures, different, cultures, things like that. Appreciative. It's really great. It shows a better, a more vast diversity in our county, and that's great that we're looking that way. So, yeah. Anything else? Open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the public that'd like to speak on this item? All right, so I'll bring it back to the board, and I think we have the resolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I offer the resolution.
Resolution has been offered.
Supervisor Simon.
Aye.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Aye.
Supervisor Green.
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska.
Yes.
And Supervisor Crandall.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries, and go ahead.
Can I ask one last question? When we do the final hearing, are we the ones that approve the change to 2.5, or how does that work?
I believe that's how it is, Emily.
Yes, that's correct. So we'll just ask the approval to adopt the updated management district plan with the updated assessment.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.